Good morning, everyone. I hope you are well. Happy Sunday. Hope you all had a wonderful week. And thank you for joining me this Sunday. I wish to thank everyone who attempted to donate to help me out on Wednesday. Sadly, I have to report that not a blessed penny made it through. And people encountered technical difficulties, and which are completely beyond my control. It's okay. It is what it is. HP Shalom carries forward, unweakened and continuous. But thank you for trying. If for some reason money did make it through, I'm sure at some point I will receive it. It's just not going to be today. Anyway, so we're moving forward on the teachings. On Wednesday, I gave a very complete and profound and wonderful teaching, which I wish to repeat this morning. I spoke with someone who's highly qualified, and I said, important teachings seem to be coming out on Wednesday, and I try to reserve them for Sunday, which is the core day for us, because not everyone can meet like this in the middle of the week. And he said, they come when they come, and it's not skillful to kind of shift them and hope they come. The flow is the same on Sunday, because they flow when they flow, and it is what it is. I'm just happy that beautiful things come through. And so we will be rebroadcasting today. It is very important to me that important things are anchored on Sundays, because that is HP Shalom's main day. And if you've already heard it, on a second time through of listening to something, you really pick up a lot more, especially when something is new. My listeners for the last 2 years probably pick up a lot on the first listen. But if you're relatively new, the first time is just a lot of information. And if it's a lot of topics you've never really considered, you really don't get into the details, because the big topics are sort of, you're like, okay, and then the flow from one to the next, you like don't know the layout. So when you listen the second time, you have an idea of where it's going, where it's headed, and you're sort of able to pick up things that you weren't able to hear on the second or even third listen. So if you feel inclined, I would hope you would listen again. I've listened to teachings many, many, many times. And I come to different understandings or realize, was this even said the first couple times? And I had not even caught something. So I hope it blesses you. And if people don't wish to listen to it again, there's a wonderful archive all over, YouTube of all the old teachings. Just look at the titles, and there's a description for almost all of them now. And you can go and listen to one that you like. I will be practicing with you today when the teaching moves into practice mode. So we will all kind of be doing it together. And I wish you a very wonderful week. And I hope you enjoy this teaching. When the glass settles, stillness, trust, and the body at rest. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're well. Welcome to the Wednesday prayer gathering. Hope you all have been having a nice week. When we come on a Wednesday evening, or on a Thursday at 5 in the morning, or 2 in the afternoon where you're at, or wherever time it is, good evening, everyone. I hope you're well. Welcome to the Wednesday prayer gathering. Hope you all have been having a nice week. When we come on a Wednesday evening, or on a Thursday at 5 in the morning, or 2 in the afternoon where you're at, or wherever time it is, we come to touch in. To connect. And in our lives, we connect to a lot of things. Other people, our work, everything that goes on, that we can meet with our eyes and our ears and our senses. All our engagement, which is basically most of everything we do. But what we're connecting with is something transcendental. There's an English word. I should have looked it up before saying it. Something that's beyond ourselves, something that can't quite be touched, something that's beyond, but it's more than beyond. It has at least for me, when I hear the word, it's got almost a powerful essence to it that's greater than what's physical. It transcends into something that's more expansive, that's less here, now, this, less impactful in a physical sensory way, but is wow. And that has the power to shape us and our lives. So when we come together to pray, or even to study by oneself, or to take a walk, or just to chill out somewhere. But it's not just chilling out to tune out, or chilling out for getting drunk, or, chatting with friends. No judges, that's fine. You go out, dance clubs, have a great time, and you're chilling. I can do that. But this is more. You go to connect with something that's beyond ourselves, yet because we can touch into it, it's also connected to us. Otherwise, we couldn't touch into it. It would sort of be out there. It'd be conceptual. It'd be something like, okay, this, like Mars, there it is, whatever, it's whatever. No. What's transcendental is as close to us as the air we breathe. The Shekhinah that flows to us is that telephone wire, that Wi-Fi signal that we are connected to. And so when we take the time, such as on a Wednesday evening, California time, we choose to allow the noise of our lives, the movement, the agitation, the worries, the relationships, everything, to subside, to go down. We allow things to settle. So we're able to connect something that is often, I want to say buried, but it's not. Because it's in the noise. It's in the movement. It's in the claustrophobia. But to see it in all that and still be in that space takes a lot of practice. You're really at an intermediate level that's pretty solid if you're able to anchor there. And you're not even anchoring, you're riding a wave of movement. But it's so important, even if you are able to do that, to take the moment where the stillness lands. Because it is really a stillness that's landing. I feel the vibration in my little bedroom. The stillness has landed. My movement, my agitation has subsided, and I could feel the energy in the room has become stiller. I've opened the window. My little space heater was too hot, so I opened the window. And I hear the fresh air come in, the cars whizzing by. But I also hear the stillness beyond the sounds. And the frequencies in my room settled. The dirt in our glass, to use an analogy I used a while back, all the grit in our glass calms down. So if you put sand, for those who didn't hear it, it's a motif. It's something that's often said to teach many different things. But here, in the way I'm using it, you put dirt. Let's take sand in a glass, sand, and you shake it up. So the clear water becomes all murky. You can't see through it. But as it gets still, all those particles of sand settle to the bottom. And then you're able to see the clear water again. So when we take that moment and decide to touch in, to decide to stop agitating our glass and to sit still, to find a quiet place. The inputs, the things coming at our senses are no longer there, and our energy settles. Our energy affects a room. So the energy in the room settles, which in turn settles us. And so we're in a feedback of calm. And in the stillness and in the quiet, well, I'll just say what a lot of very devout mystics have said over the centuries. You can hear the voice of God. You hear the voice of the Shekhinah. you are able to touch in to what is beyond us, what is transcendent, that exists beyond and exists here, that's beyond a complete understanding no matter how much you study. You could study the taste of water all you want, or the taste of Coca-Cola, or grape, or wine, but to taste it, 1,000 books can't quite describe what the taste is. By settling, you're able to align your frequency and get to know the taste of it. You gain your ability to be able to bathe in it. Your body starts recognizing its frequency. The body is able to align its own base frequency to that of the transcendent. And so as you touch into that space more and more, as you practice more and more, you're able to take that alignment, that frequency that you're able to tune your body towards out into the world, into your work, your relationships, into your soccer practice, into the chaos of the world with all its worries. Because you know the radio station and you swam in it. And therefore, you're able to maintain it. Stability in that, stability of emotions and mind, a deeper anchoring, a deeper stillness in the movement, or in the world, in today's world, stillness in the crazy, yes. That would make you intermediate, at least, on the different levels. Because that's a certain level of attainment. And it comes from the decision to take the time to trust in, the time to touch into something that's beyond ourselves. To touch in to the very core of what we are. So it's not just beyond ourselves, it is ourselves. We think it's beyond ourselves because we don't relate to it. But it's really what gives us life, and it's at the very core essence of what we are. But with all the movement, we don't feel it. With the shaken glass, we can't see the bottom where that jewel is, because there's all these little sand particles everywhere, making everything murky. But as things settle, we're able to feel the radiance of these crystals, the radiance of the gold beneath. And they fill the glass, because things that kept us from resonating, from feeling them, from seeing it, have settled. And then things you couldn't understand, things that you, like the things I said, trust me, just leave your mind open, which I say often enough, and I guess I should say it for this, trust me, keep your mind open. You begin to realize, oh, this is what that was. Oh my gosh, I think I see it. Oh my, that was out there. But actually, it's not. It's actually, that's what it is. Oh, wow. And your whole perspective begins to switch. How you perceive things, how you perceive your life switches. It's a recalibration. because we realized we weren't quite doing or functioning in what the reality was. As we discover what the ground we live from, the base, the essence of what reality is, what we realign our lives based on it, what our values are, how we choose to engage. It helps us improve. We get control over our emotions, our minds. We're able to have the wisdom that comes within us. How many times we're all caught up in something, right? Or we've perceived something a certain way because that's what we were brought up to believe. And then suddenly we see it in a whole different way and we have an aha moment. And we realize that we completely missed the solution, or we completely got caught up in something we didn't like, that we could have easily just dropped and walked away from if we had found the solution, or just decided that that's not something, and just whatever was holding us there just fell away. And that necessarily didn't come from any divine force inside, but somehow our thinking patterns had shifted. Something broke through, something let go, something left, something came in. It gave a flexibility. Our minds become flexible and more open, not locked in. We're not locked into a fixed GPS. We realize all these exits on our freeway and overpasses, and we don't even have to be on the freeway. We could be on the side roads. And then if I continue my analogy, we don't even have to be on the freeway. We can be in an airplane. We could be in a jet. We could be in a starship. All these are different ways of living, different ways of perceiving our world, which lock us into certain paradigms. But paradigms can shift. Paradigm, Lord, how to define that? It's a way of perceiving the world. And it kind of locks you into how you act in that way, in relationship to how you perceive the world. It's a whole way of being, of acting, depending on how it's perceived. I think that's a good definition. I should really look these up. But I'm literally channeling this whole thing. I did not prepare this. So you're perceiving. So if the way you perceive the world changes, the whole world kind of shifts for you, even though it stays the same, because you see it in a different way. Your understanding changes, and therefore how you place yourself and act in it also changes. The importance of prayer, of mantra, of meditation is that it puts you firmly in the driver's seat, allows the noise, the sediment, the sand, the agitation, the chaos, the crazy to calm down, even for 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes. So something a little more clear can manifest. If only it's just a moment of calm to soothe the fires of everyday life. From a religious point of view, it connects us with our true selves in the Shekhinah, connects us closer to the source, God, and to the source of who and what we are. Not who we think we are, who we like to be, or even what this world thinks we are, and what we are, our standing, our position, whatever it is, but to what we truly are at our core. And everybody needs to come to an understanding of what that is. and to understand for themselves what they think it is. I'm sure I've spoken about what it is in the past, but ultimately, whatever I say or what books say it is quite irrelevant. I mean, it's important, mind you, but until you understand it and feel it for yourself, it hasn't completely landed. Because once it lands, it grounds you. It gives your life purpose. You now understand, why am I here? What's the purpose of life? And you understand what gives life meaning. And it could still be doing exactly what you're doing. Doesn't mean anything has to shift necessarily, but it becomes more transcendent. Your life becomes more internal, beyond, because you've connected something beyond the movement and the physicality of everything. You've connected to something that came before, that's continuing afterwards, and we're in the present. But ultimately, it's beyond time. So as I look upon the candle burning on the candlestick, which I am loving, the stained glass little candle holder may go into semi-retirement for a while. This is really sending me, it's so simple. A Shabbat candle holder with a candle and quite a large flame that's open. No glass, no colored glass covering it, with the Aleph in the background. But the light of the candle, as I speak, I'm staring at it. It's quite extraordinary. It's a little over an inch tall. There's no lights on in the room, other than my little computer. Yet it's not so bright that it hurts my eyes. And the light isn't white, it's yellowish. And it actually provides the right amount of luminosity, of light, to fill that little nook in the room, that little space in the room. But it doesn't blind me. I could look beyond it. I guess I've really not looked into candles in a very long time, as I think as what I'm saying. I don't think I quite remembered what looking at a candle is. But what strikes me is the peace of it. The flame is just being. It's lit and it's manifesting and it's very still. And yet it produces something that comes from it. The light, and I guess there's some heat, obviously, if you get too close. But it's there in stillness, sort of levitating, a foot from the wall, an open space being held underneath, and there just comes up one candlestick, a candle, and then a flame, just hanging there in space. Open, luminous, still. It rests in Shalom. And so when we gather to pray on a Wednesday, I find this candle to be a great teacher for me. When we sit and we are in front of something still, it brings stillness to us. It can bring concepts to us. Makes us wonder. Maybe we can become the still flame out in the world, not disturbed, emanating present, yet remaining still, luminous. We allow our senses to calm down by looking at our candle. And for those who haven't lit theirs yet, I suggest you do. I guess I've launched right into the meditation practice. And we can rest there a little bit. So since we're discussing meditating with the body, working on bringing our physicality, our body into our practice, a lot of it, what it is having our body relax. So the energy of the body and the energy of the mind, the energy of the eyes flow. It's not boxed in. What I see, my kneecaps feel. When I relax, the whole body releases, and we put our awareness, what we feel, what we sense, into our entire body. So the relaxation, the being, the relationship with the candle, it's all of us relating to it. Not just our brain with our eyes, but we feel that the sense of what that is transported through our body. It's like going into a hot tub. Our brain feels the heat, right? Our hands feel the heat. It can be shocking. So you go in, you're like, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my God. You're like, I'm going to be a lobster in here, right? But then at some point, something gives away and you relax and release into the heat, and the whole body just goes, oof, and you melt. And a nice little glass of wine or beer helps sometimes. And you relax. And the feeling of the tub becomes all of you. And where does the water begin? And the tub and your body and everything, you dissolve, you melt. Because the heat was no longer in your hands or your foot or your skin. The feeling of what that is has flooded your whole being because you can't resist it anymore. It's too strong, and you either get out or you relax and let it go of your resistance, and your body adapts, and then all your pains go away. In a way, with prayer and meditation, it's the same thing. By relaxing and being aware that we have a body, and remember breathing out, relax, let go, let go. And as you relax, things crack, things move. Because the muscles and everything's relaxing, we are unifying our minds with our bodies. and we're become one whole organism. And things are able to move through, and there's also a deep grounding. A lot of our emotions and things we go through in life is because our minds aren't grounded. It's sort of there above the neck, but we can ground it a lot in our bodies. Because the mind is a lot of air energy, like air blowing around. You see, air blows, leaves go everywhere. It's chaotic. Air's very tornadoes, right? Don't sometimes we feel we're in a tornado? Yes, but the earth is still. The tornado can blow all it wants above the ground. Now, unless it really digs into the ground, but mainly, how deep into the ground can it go? If you're 10, 15 feet under the ground, I don't think a tornado can do that much. It's everything on the surface that's in trouble. When we ground ourselves, we have something that could anchor the wind that's in our body, that fans the flames, so to speak. So when we take that moment on a Wednesday evening or whatever time it is for you, we invite stillness in. We invite the Shalom in. And by inviting the stillness and peace, we're inviting wisdom, transcendent knowledge, a new way of being. We invite in transformation, a reset to factory settings, a reset to new paradigms. And it's an open door invitation to progressing along the path. Where things you're like, okay, that's out there. I don't even know what to make of that. Suddenly you're like, oh my God, I understand what that was. Oh my God, I see it. Oh my, wow. You get those moments. And you realize a lot of the struggle at the beginning has sort of gone away because you found your sea legs. You found what's being pointed towards. Doesn't make the rest of it easy. It doesn't. Life is not easy. But you live it a different way and you have tools. And you can go through a lot more because you're anchored in something that's real with a capital R. So, my friends, I hope I have not created another teaching that I have to replay on Sunday. I may just have. There is something on Wednesday evenings and teaching at night that is very special, especially in the winter meditation time. Because what we're really doing is connecting with stillness and deeper parts of ourselves. And there's something about the evening when we're trying to connect with our bodies and work with the deeper part of what we are physically, that the evening kind of unlocks something. You know, in the morning, there's a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts. I'm a morning person, like an extreme morning person, like I'm up at 4 a.m. type of morning person. I am the best in the morning till about 8 or 9. My brain functions the best. It's quiet outside. I see things. Things are clear before it's the best time. It's strong brain time. And a powerful time to pray as well. But the evening, my brain is off. Well, clearly it's not. But it's not my brain. Do you see? I'm not thinking. And I'm not trying to think of what I said, and I certainly don't have any notes, and I certainly have not prepared any of this. But it gives that open space where something new can emerge, something transcendent, something beyond us, beyond what we might even create and try to type up to present. Because in that settled open space, it's full. It's not empty. And it's trustworthy. Once you connect to what it truly is, that you're not thinking something else is it, and then you trust that and it's not quite it. And with time, you get confidence. And as you settle and let go, the only thing you could really settle into at the core is the reality. And you'll know when you're there because you'll feel really anchored and still in yourself. And you can trust what bubbles up, and you can trust where it's guiding you towards through experience and through practice. So to give you an example, and I feel uncomfortable because I'm using myself an example and what's been happening for the last 30 minutes. I'm just speaking. I'm more careful with my words. I see the words as they come up, 2-3 words at a time. I often don't know how this sentence is going to end, and I often do not know what the next sentence is or where this is all going. But I know I've studied enough and I have enough knowledge that I can trust the flow. And I'm aligned and I'm looking at a sacred space and I feel the energies are open and something's and the flow. And I'm releasing into the flow in trust that I won't say anything inaccurate. But as I say it, my mind is registering what I'm saying and I'm making sure it's correct, as well as I'm sort of guiding it when I see it maybe needing a little guidance in this direction, or I see, oh, this is a good direction to go in towards. So my hand is somewhat on the wheel, but there's also a great amount of trust through practice, through gaining skills, through receiving what's the word? Confirmation that it's correct. By study, I'm all for studying. You have to have knowledge that you've learned. Otherwise, you could be way out there, and I've met a lot of people like that, and it is la la land. But also through your own understanding and practice. You learn your trade. As a doctor, lawyer, or whatever you are, at some point you go into the flow because you've learned enough of the knowledge that you're able to just go with it. And so it's a little bit like touching in now with our practice. We gain confidence in ourselves, confidence in our inner voice, confidence in God. We calm the waves, the air, the water that's all stormy, and we go a little deeper below the waves, another analogy I've used in the past, or we ground ourselves like a rock on the earth. We're still subject to the elements, the rain, the wind, but it doesn't affect us as much. So interesting. I had a memory earlier this week. You can't make this stuff up. I haven't thought about this in a long time. So I've been given several names over the course of my life, religious names. And I just remembered one that was given to me over 20 years ago. And it's somebody I very respected who've been doing this since the 70s and fortunate enough to be one of her students. And she gave me a name, Insight Mountain. And I said, oh, that's nice. And then she said, do you know what it means? And of course, she was really intelligent and a tough teacher. She says, what do you think it means? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm really on the spot. And I've just had barely a year's knowledge. And I'm like, I'm not going to get this. And she was a little bit like me. She was, let me say, a vivid teacher. And somewhat, but very polished too. So it was interesting. She said this word. She goes, a mountain doesn't move. It could snow on it. It could rain on it. Things can blow on it. Birds can shit on it. But it's still there. I'll never forget that. I'm still working on it. I have not attained that. But our practice helps us to be the stillness in the storm, to be that mountain where people can shit on us, where it can rain on us and snow on us and blow on us. Everything that happens to a mountain, and somehow it remains in its stillness. And insight can flow from it because it's not perturbed. It's not agitated. It's grounded. At the time, I was everything but that, which is maybe why she gave me that name. It was a great gift. Very challenging time. I was a mess. And a lot of things pulling me in many different directions. But she saw something in me. And she guided me. And so in our practice, we settle. We look at the flame and we ask, what are you teaching me? I look at the Aleph and I see the presence of God. There, in the background, radiating through, saying, hello, I'm here. I'm always here. I'm always present. You can feel the energy if you choose to. We can feel God throughout our day in the movement, in the stillness, in the happy, in the sad, in the health, in the illness. When we're awake and when we're asleep. The stillness can be found in all of that. The wisdom can be found in all of that. Transcendence can be found in all of that. And if it truly is there, you're very advanced. But then at that point, there's no more beginning, intermediate, advanced, or any of that. You just are. And then you're living in a perfection that I think God always intended for us. Not being lost in the winds and in the fire and in the earthquakes of our lives, but to flow on the current of the Shekhinah, on the current of beauty, of wisdom, and of shalom. So, why don't we take a couple minutes and then let's go surfing together. How about that, huh? And the water's going to be calm. Where this is interesting. I didn't think about this analogy. You know, pools and backyards. So you have this little inflatable raft, right? And you get on it with, a little Mai Tai or Cosmo or something, and you just float and it gets still and you kind of fall asleep. Yes? In a way, a lot of the waves in our pool is because we move around. And so our little raft rocks. But when we just lie there's not that feedback of waves that moves us and shakes us, and things become very still. And so when we come back, people go to the restroom, get a nice little glass of water. If you're a little hungry, you eat a little something. Then we're going to come back. And then we're going to work on relaxing and being in the shalom. So I was only going to give a couple minutes, but yeah, we'll do at least a good practice this evening. So let's do 10 minutes. But also during this time, stretch. So we can hop right into it. The parts of you that are tight, stretch a little bit, especially the legs when we go into a sitting posture. And if you're new, my website has a whole page dedicating on all the different sitting postures that they are. I've listed almost all of them. I think all of them. I don't know, but all the main ones by far. And you can find one that works for you. And, if you have a candlestick or just a tea light, maybe put it up without anything around it and put it up a little higher so it's not quite on the ground. So you could look directly at the flame. Or if you have a candlestick you would like to use, and have it sort of there. Over centuries, many people have prayed while looking at candles or just having a room lit in a candle. It creates an intimate, sacred space. Lovers make love in rooms lit with candles. It connects us to something holy and special and intimate and beautiful, something very innocent and tender. Well, it kind of sounds like the shalom to me. But it's really the qualities that are us when we're not shaken and things are allowed to settle. So 10 minutes, my dear friends, and I'll see you soon. Okay, so if we start coming back, I'm still doing a few stretches, so let's prepare ourselves. Excuse me. I wanted to read to you something that I stumbled across when I was looking at my website on my phone. Now, with the miracles of modern technology, when I typed in Wisdom of the Shalom, which is the name of the website, it created an AI overview. And I read it, and I think I'd like to share what it says. The wisdom of Shalom, and it's speaking here generally, so not so much to do with me. It took the name of the website and made it a, I don't know what the grammatical word is, but as if it's describing something. So the wisdom of Shalom, and they put Shalom as a capital S, is about achieving holistic well-being, completeness, and right relationship, extending beyond mere absence of conflict to include justice, prosperity, health, safety, and unity in all aspects of life, personal, communal, which is our society, and spiritual. It's a call to live fully, care for creation, practice justice, and find wholeness through wisdom, God's grace, and connection. Core concepts of Shalom: wholeness and completeness. Shalom means being whole, lacking nothing, and having nothing broken or missing. Being made Shalom. Total well-being. It encompasses peace, but also prosperity, health, security, righteousness, and justice. Right relationships, right, R-I-G-H-T, right relationships. It involves unity, seeing the good in others, mutual care, and generosity, person-to-person grace. Divine source. God is the source of Shalom, often called Yahweh Shalom. The Lord is peace. Wisdom and practice. Biblical wisdom. Proverbs, book of Proverbs, teaches that wisdom's path leads to peace, while the Bible, the Tanakh, shows shalom through acts of grace and care, personal growth. Wisdom and practice involves self-improvement, finding purpose, and building healthy connections, often using teachings from spiritual leaders, and I would say religious traditions, to find real-life tools for happiness and meaningful lives. Communal life, building unity in homes and communities, creates shalom in the world, requiring setting aside differences and working together. Stewardship. It means caring for creation and governing with protection and justice. Applying the shalom. Practice rest. Seek justice, stewardship. Be a steward of creation. And look to the total well-being of others. Spiritual life. Regarding God as the source, God all Father. Following divine teachings. And live with integrity. In greetings, using shalom, meaning hello, goodbye, embodies the wish for wholeness and peace upon another. It's a form of blessing. It's the reason I called the website and what I do the wisdom of the shalom. It's the reset to the core within us. We rest upon the shalom, the peace of God. And the candle before us reminds us of that. When I light a candle, I ask God's presence to manifest in the flame. The living Spirit of God being manifested. It's something tangible. It doesn't just become a light, doesn't just become a candle, but it's the Shekhinah alive in front of me, creating that sacred presence. In all spiritual traditions, there's always often candles. The stillness, the presence we have by having a prayer space with sacred objects on it. If you choose, you could print the Aleph picture, which is on the website, and print it out, and you have it on the wall behind the Aleph, the essence of what God is. Given many teachings on it there on the website if you're not familiar with it, but it's basically the symbol of the essence of God. And Aleph has no sound. It's a letter that has no sound. And it symbolizes divinity. And it's the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. God comes first, and from that flows everything else in creation. So let's take a moment and we'll start. I think we'll do the same as last week. So my personal practice is the name of Yahweh, so I would do Yahweh Shalom, and feel free to do whatever name you feel called, and you add Shalom at the end. And as you're reciting, well, there's two ways we can do it. You can do it the mantra way. And as you're reciting, remember to breathe and to relax. It's not the number of times you repeat it. It's not how fast you repeat it or how slow you repeat it. It's being able to rest and allow that energy to soften you. And you remember to breathe and let go and relax so the tension can leave your body. As you look upon your prayer space, you open your mind, open your body, and allow that energy to flow. And be open and receptive with no agenda on what may happen, what you wish to achieve, or any worries that you can't do it, or you won't hold, whatever. You let go of all of everything, and you simply do it. And if your mind strays, you bring your mind back. You can also stare at the candle and relax and keep your intention on the candle. It's a light focus. You're not lasering focus on the candle. It's a soft, open gaze. And your awareness rests on the candle, and you relax yourself and you open while having a soft gaze on the object of your meditation, which in this case is the candle. But because we start with a prayer, and because we start with an intention and we ground ourselves, if you're religious, in God, just staring at the candle becomes more than a practice of meditation. It becomes divine practice, because the container, the space we've created with our intention, we've brought in the divine element. So we have those blessings, and the practice becomes much more. It becomes a connection to what's transcendent, a connection to God. The open space we create isn't any longer an open space. It becomes much more than that. And we could have confidence to relax in that. And we have a curiosity, curiosity to see what may emerge, what we may feel, different ways of, oh my gosh, I felt something expansive, something big, and my mind opened. I didn't feel like I was locked in. Suddenly I felt I was able to breathe. Or I could feel the room more. So these things are possible. And you also could feel other things, such as your inner voice becomes a little louder. You understand and see things differently. You may feel a certain Shekhinah presence that you can relate to. In the stillness, a lot can be found. And you could do a mixture of both. Some of the mantra practice, then you rest softly looking at the flame, or you do both. You look at the flame as you're doing the practice, as you open into the room, and as you relax. All of them at the same time, which is actually, in many ways, the easiest to do, because you're anchoring your eyesight on the flame softly, even for me with the Aleph in the background. You're saying a sacred name that has the word Shalom, and if you listen to it, Shalom itself is extremely relaxing. We see what the word means. So it has those qualities by its very definition, and it's been used in that way for centuries. So the word is actually a mantra on itself by how it's been used. You put God's name in front of it, who's the personification of Shalom, the embodiment of Shalom. Yes, so all of these things are leading to it. So we're staring, we're relaxing, we're reciting the name. And if you have prayer beads, that also anchors your awareness. And as you move them, as you've prayed with them in the past, those energies, those divine energies that have been infused in those beads also flow through. And so you've created a beautiful space that can feel extremely sacred. And you rest in that space you've created as you're doing the prayer, or you move to stillness. So it's a very dynamic space. It's very alive. There's actually, ironically, a lot of movement in it. A lot's going on. But also there's a lot not going on. And you'll see in all that movement, there's actually a lot of stillness and a lot of pregnancy. A lot can be given birth from that space. So in a way, you make it what you like it to be. In a way, the whole spiritual path can be said, can be described as learning and gaining the ability, of learning and gaining the ability to rest in the Shalom in ever deeper ways. So, as always, we will start with the Shema. Oh, I wanted to say, so if you're not religious, then you want to just, you rest in the space of the peace, of kindness. I view that it comes from God. But we aim towards it. And hopefully these practices bless you as well. So I will be doing Yahweh Shalom. If that name is fine with you, please join me with that. If not, use whatever name works for you. If you're curious to use this name and you find it appropriate, well, hop on and that'll give you knowledge of a different name. And since a lot of people will probably be doing it with me, that energy will be there and that could help you unlock and have ability in that name as well. But you could use whatever name you wish, and we'll practice for a little bit together. Yes? Trying to bring in the oomph tonight. So let's see what we can do, right? My legs are asleep again. Hold on. I just sit on a thin little towel on the hardwood floor, so it doesn't take much for my ankles to fall asleep. So we'll start with the Shema. Oh, I also wanted to say, look, as you're doing practice for periods of time, especially mantra, you could switch your position around. It's not to hold it when you're in pain. That is not it at all. You can shift. And sometimes when you're in the zone, you don't have to necessarily keep the best posture either. The importance is you kind of try to remain in that pocket of your practice. You'll feel with time there's a sort of energetic current that you get into, and you maintain a posture where you can stay in that current. And sometimes I just wanted to share, you can have, I don't know how to describe this. Well, you have your feet out in front of you on your heels, right? I don't know what this is called. And then you have your arms around your kneecap in a way, and your hands kind of in the middle. You see that sort of posture where your legs aren't extended, but they're not up against you, sort of halfway there, and you're nice and comfortable. It's a very comfortable posture. If you look at your spine, right, and I guess your kneecaps are next to your elbows. You see what I'm trying to describe? The back is somewhat straight. It's a little curved, whatever. It doesn't need to be always perfect. And from that space, if you're doing mantras, you can still do the beads in front of you. Do you see? So there's a way to kind of shift and move. The practice is what's important. Perfect posture helps with the movement of energy, and it's very good to definitely start with it. But once the body relaxes into the flow of energy, you can shift a little bit while still remaining in alignment, even if the posture is not perfect, because it's like the energy is already flowing. You know what I mean? It's flowing, and therefore it doesn't all have to be perfect. The importance is to have a comfortable position where you can do your practice, where your attention is not pulled to pain or discomfort, or this is not comfortable. So moving to different areas, different ways of sitting, but you could still practice. Ultimately, it takes a while to get there, and it takes a while of working with your energy channels to get there. Any posture is aligned. Yes? That is not to say that you say that and any posture is aligned and it becomes so and therefore it is. That's 1970s crazy. Huh? It means as you develop your abilities, you get to a place in you with what you've achieved that energy flows regardless of any position you're in. But it's like you've worked up to running a marathon, therefore you can run a marathon. It doesn't mean, oh, a marathon is possible, therefore I can decide to run a marathon. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's by working with it, one develops an ability that you can find the alignment in regardless of the position. It is a posture, it's an internal posture one has. It's an energetic posture one can have when the energy currents in your body are able to flow properly and have been healed. It's an advanced teaching, but I want to put it out there because dualism is the path. But ultimately, when you get to a certain point, good posture, bad posture is, it's conceptual, but that's which is important when you're on the path, mind you. That's what I'm trying to say. But you can transcend it. You're not trapped in good posture to do things. It don't need to be perfect. Just like this last sentence, I guess, which is not grammatical. It doesn't need to be perfect. So as you do your practice, the importance is to be enveloped in your practice, not to have the perfect posture. But when you start, it's always good, like when you start your car, you let it warm up a little bit. You let the fluids move a little bit. You have yourself in the right position. And then you can be a little more loose. But it's important that the spine and the neck kind of always be straight. But you can move a little forward. You could be a little curved, like with the posture I mentioned. Because I found myself quite a few times, and I didn't want to interrupt the practice for everyone, that I was in that posture. It's a very easy way to move your prayer beads as you're doing mantra. And after you do it for a while and your legs have calmed down a little bit, then you can go back into your posture. So there's movement, this shift. You're a little thirsty, you take a glass of water. You could say it while reciting the mantras in yourself, or you take a pause as you take a sip of glass, but you remain in the energetic space and you rest in it. You're not trying to grasp it. You're not trying to get it. Like if what I'm describing is still not your reality, that's fine. It took me a little while. But you're not grasping for it. I need to get this. And somehow you're trying to grab it. It's actually not to be grabbed. that actually makes it harder to find. You just have to let go. It's basically let go, let God. You kind of let go, do the practice, and allow the practice to do you, basically. The practice will do what it needs to do. The names, the way we go about it, the prayer space, it's all in tune to a frequency. You just have to do it and trust. And, it's like putting your foot in the water. You're not going to just be thrown off the deep end. You're going to feel a little bit like, oh, this is nice. Oh, yeah, I like this. And then you do a little more. You approach cautiously. You see it. There's nothing. It's just calm space. It's just discovering the space that's you. It's an outward practice, but it's also very much an inward practice. And we're not creating anything that's not already there. We're merely allowing the sand to settle in our glass so we can see clearly the blessings that have always laid within us, that inner temple, that inner cathedral, that inner candle that is there inside of us, waiting to shine out, waiting to be discovered. All right, let's do the Shema. So if you're using prayer beads, and I gave a whole teaching last summer on how to make them and different stones, I think June or something. It's all on the YouTube channel. You could find out how to make them if that's something that interests you. But when you pick them up, they're a little cold. So I rub them softly against my hand. Our hands have the energy of life in it because we emanate energy. So by rubbing them a little bit, it sort of activates the energy that we've put into it. And I blow it into a little bit because the oxygen, the air coming out of our bodies also has life force in it. And it's a good way of reconnecting with a spiritual tool before you start. And if you hold it in your hand as you do the Shema, then the blessing of the Shema enters into the beads. You see? When you do the mantra with the beads in your hands, the mantra enters into the beads. I like stones. Why? Because stones, like turquoise, citrine, lapis lazuli, the stones, I gave reference to a book where you could find them, have an ability to hold energy. They have their own energy, and some stones have quite their own energy, but there's stones like quartz that are very open to whatever energy you put in them. So by saying the name of God, it blesses it and also infuses it with the mantra you're using and the blessings of God. And therefore, when you practice with it, it helps you in your practice because it literally holds those frequencies in the stone. Yes, it is real. Yes, take my word for it until you discover it for yourself. And so you have that as a tool. It's a tool. It becomes a sacred tool because of the practice you've done with it and because of the energies of God from your mantras and his sacred names that have gone into it. So you treat it with respect. but it also helps line you up. The other day, I didn't feel very well. So I took my prayer beads and I put it over my heart and let it rest in the middle of my body when I was lying down. And what I was feeling left within 30 seconds. I felt all the energy shift almost immediately. That is not just those beads. I'm sorry, that stone can't quite fully do that, at least not that fast. And that's the power of infusing a stone. Somebody's ill, you lend them your beads. Somebody you trust, because your beads become very dear to you. Somebody in the hospital, you come visit them, you say, why don't you hold this? It becomes a spiritual tool. You feel off center. You're having a really bad day. Well, maybe you string it around your arm, or you put it around your neck, or you hold on to it as you move around. You really stick in bed. You bring it in bed with you. You sleep on top of it. Sacred, yes, but it's also meant to be used. And if you need to sleep on top of it so your body's against it so you feel better, then that's what you do. If your foot is hurt, you put it against your foot, even though it's your foot. Do you see? So it's bringing all these things together, making use of candles, of pictures, of the quiet spaces of night, through the sacred minerals and elements that God has provided, different stones that have different qualities. Yes, different stones have different qualities. It is not BS, it's real. I gave reference to a book that describes different ones, and I found them to be very accurate. I didn't used to believe in these things. Now I do, because it's come out to be true. So we bring these things into our practice as help. Walking this world and trying to walk it in shalom is not easy, especially in today's world. So the practices, the names, beads, teachings are a blessing. They help us. They give us something to lean on, something to encourage us and to help us build us up, get us a little better than we otherwise could be by ourselves on that particular day or in that particular moment. Help us move and make the right decisions in the right way. All right. So I have my prayer beads in hand, and we're going to do the Shema. So feel free to say it with me if you wish. I hope I am on key today. Let us see. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Yahweh Shalom, 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 Yahweh Shalom. Yahweh Shalom, Yahweh Shalom, Yahweh Shalom, Yahweh Shalom, Yahweh Shalom, Yahweh Shalom. Shalom, 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 Yahweh Shalom.
בצדקתך תמיד גומלם חסין קדוש חסין קדוש ברוב טובך נהל עדתך יחיד גאה לעמך פנה זוכרי קדושתך שבתנו קבל ושמע צעקתנו יודע תעלומות רנה בכוח פעולת ימינך תרצה רוח קבל רינות עמך סגנו טהרנו נורא שבתנו קבל ושמע צעקתנו יודע תעלומות יודע
ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's been a pleasure with you all. I hope you had a wonderful practice. And I send you my best wishes for the remainder of the week. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.